Welcome to our second episode of Iterable's new series, Let's Chat. Every week, we dive into a high-impact topic in the world of marketing with research curated by humans, but delivered by AI voices like ours.
Yeah, it's new, uncharted territory for us, and hopefully helpful and relevant for you.
Let's get into it. This week, let's chat tariffs.
Okay, tariffs. So at their core, they're basically a tax. A government puts this tax on goods coming into the country.
Right, imported goods.
Yeah.
Like an extra fee just for crossing the border.
Exactly. And when those goods arrive, it's the companies doing the importing who, pay that tariff to the government first.
Okay, the importing company pays, but that cost doesn't just stay with them, does it?
No, rarely. That's the key thing for you, the consumer, that cost. It almost always gets sort of baked into the final price tag you see.
Right, so we end up paying for it at the till. So what are the main ways this actually hits us, the buyers?
Well, there are really two big ones. First, like we just said, prices go up. It's pretty direct. Businesses face higher import costs.
And they pass it on. Makes sense. Higher prices.
Yeah.
What's the second big impact?
The other thing is tariffs can actually reduce the range of products you find.
Oh, how so?
Well, if a tariff makes importing a specific item too expensive, some companies might just stop bringing it in altogether. It's just not profitable anymore.
I see. So fewer choices for us.
Yeah, fewer options. And, these two things together, higher prices, fewer choices, they can contribute to the overall cost of living going up.
Okay. Fewer choices, higher costs. Let's maybe zoom in a bit. How does this look for specific sectors? Let's start with retail brands and their marketing.
Sure. For retailers, this isn't just some abstract idea. They're already seeing it shape forecasts, like predictions for retail sales growth in 2025. They're already being nudged down.
Because of potential inflation driven by these tariffs.
Exactly. That's cited as a big factor. And looking ahead, if there were a sharp hike in tariffs, that could ripple out.
How so? Like a bigger economic effect.
Yeah, potentially a broader economic slowdown, maybe even contracting consumer spending and GDP, perhaps around 2026. It's a serious potential consequence.
Wow. Okay. So given that, what are retail marketers actually doing? How do they adapt their strategies?
A really key pivot we're seeing is doubling down on value and what makes their brand different.
Highlighting their unique selling point.
Precisely. Take American Giant, for instance. Their whole social media game is built around their American-made campaign.
Right, I've seen that.
They're really pushing the quality, the story behind making things domestically. It helps justify the price when maybe imported alternatives are getting more expensive or feeling less certain.
Makes sense. Lean into what makes you special when price gets tricky. Okay, what about media brands? Different world, different pressures?
Definitely different pressures, but still feeling the tariff effects. For media, it often hits their operational costs. Think about the physical side, imported materials like aluminum for printing plates, equipment too. Tariffs on those things mean higher direct expenses. It squeezes their production budget.
So higher costs to just do business. How does that eventually affect us, the audience or subscribers?
Well, it might not be immediate, but rising operational costs can put pressure on things like advertising revenue down the line. If advertisers themselves are feeling pinched by tariffs and cut back spending,
then the media companies might need to find that revenue elsewhere, like higher subscription fees.
potentially, yeah. Or they might need to reevaluate how they operate to maintain engagement with their buyers, their audience. It's about staying connected even when the economic winds shift.
Okay, so what marketing strategies are they using to cope?
We're seeing a bigger push towards direct deals with buyers, trying to lock in revenue through subscriptions or direct partnerships, rather than being solely reliant on, that potentially shrinking ad market.
Makes sense. Diversify revenue stream.
Exactly. And just generally keeping a really close eye on the economy and being ready to adjust their own marketing budgets if needed. Adaptability is key.
Adaptability seems like the theme here. Okay, let's shift gears again. Sports marketing. That's a huge industry. How are tariffs playing out there?
Yeah, the sports world is definitely feeling some uncertainty. It's just that tariffs can touch so many different areas.
Like what specifically?
Well, long-term media rights deals seem pretty safe for now. But sponsorships, that's where we might see some movement.
Sponsorships. How so?
Think about the big spenders, automotive, technology. A lot of those major players, especially some based in Asia, have huge sponsorship deals in the US.
Right. Cars, electronics brands on jerseys and stadiums.
Exactly. Now, if tariffs make the US market tougher for them or less profitable, they might start to question the value of those really expensive sponsorship deals.
So if the market feels hostile, they might pull back on that kind of marketing spend.
It's a logical possibility they'd reassess, yeah. Why spend big in a market that's making things difficult? Also, think about infrastructure.
Stadiums.
Yeah, new stadiums, big renovations, tariffs on steel, on aluminum that could drive up the cost for those projects too.
So more expensive builds. What's the marketing takeaway for sports teams or leagues then?
Be prepared for potential sponsorship reassessments. Keep a very close watch on the financial health of those key sectors that pour money into sports. Stay proactive.
Okay, let's talk B2B. How are tariffs shaking things up there?
For B2B companies, tariffs can cause what some analysts are calling pipeline shocks.
Pipeline shocks.
Yeah.
It sounds traumatic. What does that mean practically?
It means sudden, unexpected disruptions that mess with their ability to predict revenue reliably.
Okay, how does that look on the ground for their marketing and sales teams?
You could see sales cycles getting much longer. Imagine a procurement team on the buyer's side suddenly having to reevaluate everything because of potential cost increases from their suppliers due to tariffs.
Yeah, so deals slow down.
Right. Or you might see deal volume drop. Customers might postpone big purchases or even cancel because of their own cost pressures or just general uncertainty about the economy. It makes forecasting revenue really volatile.
Yeah, that sounds tough. Harder to predict income, harder to close deals quickly. How do B2B marketers fight back against that uncertainty?
A big focus has to be on pipeline efficiency, getting more out of the leads they do have, strengthening that pipeline to quota ratio.
Making sure more leads convert to offset the slowdowns.
Exactly. Diversifying their own suppliers is also smart, trying not to rely too heavily on goods hit by tariffs, and maybe accelerating automation in procurement, but crucially, communication.
With their customers.
Absolutely. Being really transparent about potential price changes, explaining the situation, but also constantly reinforcing the value they bring. Maintaining trust is vital. Scenario planning helps too.
So pulling back a bit, are there some general strategies that marketing teams across all these sectors can use to soften the blow from tariffs?
Definitely. One really powerful approach is leaning heavily into personalization.
Tailoring messages and offers.
Yeah. When price becomes a bigger issue for consumers, understanding their individual needs and speaking directly to those needs becomes even more crucial. It helps keep the connection strong.
We mentioned transparency earlier, like Patagonia sending messages. Any other examples of that kind of openness?
Yeah, Base Travel did something interesting. They sent out an email, apparently straight from their finance team, just explaining the cost pressures they were under.
Really direct.
Very direct and authentic. Kind of a, we're facing this challenge, thanks for sticking with us vibe. That honesty can really build loyalty.
That human touch makes sense. What about pricing itself?
Well, some brands, if they can afford it, might choose to absorb the tariff costs, at least for a while.
As a loyalty play?
Exactly. Or like Fashion Nova, they actively advertised tariff-free pricing using SMS. That creates immediate appeal, makes customers feel like they're getting a deal.
So, highlighting the lack of tariffs. What if the tariffs are already baked in?
Then you might see retailers optimize existing inventory, like promote the stuff they imported before the tariffs hit. Metro Mattress did something like this, pushing their tariff-free options.
Clever. Using what you already have. And we talked about emphasizing value beyond price, too.
Right, that's huge. Reframing the price discussion around the total value, brand storytelling becomes critical. American Giant, again, they're American-made, isn't just about where it's made. It's about quality, ethics, jobs.
Things people might be willing to pay a bit more for, especially compared to imports facing tariffs.
Exactly. It's reminding consumers about the why behind the brand and the product, not just the price tag. And sometimes, like Bayes did, positioning tariffs as sort of a shared challenge, something everyone's navigating.
Fostering that sense of, we're in this together, rather than just seeming like a price hike.
Precisely. It avoids making the brand look like they're just arbitrarily raising prices.
So it sounds like the best defense for marketers involves a mix of things. Clear communication, smart pricing tactics, maybe absorbing costs short term, and a really strong focus on brand value and storytelling.
That sums it up well. It really requires understanding the economic climate, yes, but maybe even more importantly, understanding your specific customers.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Let's Chat. We're excited to keep this conversation going every week. If you found today's episode helpful, give us a follow, share it with your team, or just come back for more. We'll see you next week. Same time, same chat.